Okay, welcome to our final unit lesson in Unit 3B. This is estimating length, and then we're going to be finding perimeter and area while we do our estimating of length. Now, we have a word that's called a referent. A referent is something on your body, a part of your body that you compare how long something is when you're measuring. For example, a centimeter is about the width of your pinky finger, how wide it is across. Okay, that's about a centimeter. An inch is about two fingers like this. It's about the width of those two fingers. That's about an inch. Okay, take two fingers, that's about an inch. Okay, it says a foot is a little longer than your foot, and it also goes from your elbow to your wrist. So your elbow to your wrist, that's about the same length as a foot long sub, okay, which is about a foot, okay? And a neat trick here, if you took your shoe size or took your shoe off and put it right there, your shoe would match right there. That's how big your feet are, okay? Your feet match how long that is on your body, okay? Now, we could also say that how long are other things? So we have everyday objects that we can use. So there's one more, and this is called 1 yard or 1 meter. And that would be 1 yard or 1 meter is going to be from the floor to your hip. Okay, from the floor to your hip. That's about 1 meter. So you remember those meter sticks, those big long meter sticks for measuring in schools, those guys?
Yeah, I used to beat my friends with those.
Yes, a lot of people. And in grade 10, they do, in the Romeo and Juliet and in different things, they use them for sword fighting. Okay, that's about the length of a meter. So from the floor to the top of your hip, that's about 1 meter, which is about 1 yard. Okay, so a yard is also 3 of these. Remember I said your foot is from your wrist to your elbow? A yard is 3 of those. Okay, so if you measure here to here 3 times, that's how long a yard is. And guess what? That's also going to be the same as the floor to your hip.
But how does that work if everybody's different?
That's right. That's why it's called an estimation. Yeah, everybody is different. Some of us are a lot taller, some are a lot shorter, and that's okay. That's why the biggest word we use here is estimate. We are estimating, okay? So we're using it, for example, back in the day when we had kings and queens and all those people, and it was in the Roman era, all those times back in the day, they didn't have rulers. So if they didn't have rulers, what did they measure with? They measured with parts of their body like I'm showing you.
Did they keep parts of bodies from
No, they did not. But they had certain things. For example, if they had a stick in their home that was about the same length as the foot, they would use that stick. So for example, when they were farming or they're measuring out how to build their houses, they would use those sticks and lay them on the ground to figure out how big it is. And that's when we start talking about perimeter and area. So inches, what else could we find for an inch? Well, this is the width of 2 fingers. A foot, what would be a foot again? What did we say 1 foot could be? That's right, your foot. So your own foot. So your own foot. And the yard is going to be equal to a meter, which is equal to the floor to your hip. Okay, floor to your hip. Now, do we have objects in the real world that represent those types of things? Absolutely. So, for example, if you wanted to know how big your hat is, okay, what you could do is put your hat down and you could use your 2 fingers measuring like an inch and place them across your hat to see how big it is. So there's many different ways they could measure back in the day. All right, diameter of a golf ball. Now we want to think of, are we going to use a big unit or a small unit? So for diameter of a golf ball, is a golf ball a big object or a small object? It's a very small one. So since this guy is a small object, we need to use small units. So we would use inches. And in metric, we would use centimeters. Okay, so we're going to use small units. Okay, we use small units when we have small objects. When we have bigger objects, we use bigger units. So if you think from the distance from Calgary to Vancouver, this says Regina, we're going to say Vancouver. If we go Calgary to Vancouver, that's a long ways away. What is the largest thing we measure in when we drive?
A car.
Kilometers.
Kilometers, good. And what do they measure when they're in the United States?
Miles per hour.
Good. So here we use miles, and here we use kilometers, km. All right? So miles versus kilometers, because they are the large units. Okay? These are the largest units. Okay, now thickness of a DVD, that's like a CD. That's a really tiny, tiny, tiny. What do you think we could use? Is that going to be a big unit or a tiny unit? It's a tiny one. If I want to find a tiny thing, so this is tiny units. So again, I'm going to use inches and centimeters or millimeters. Okay, millimeters is our smallest, tiniest unit. So we would use it then. How tall a tree is, what could we use for that?
40 feet.
Feet, good. Yes, we would use feet. Excellent. So this is kind of a medium. Okay, this is a medium size unit. So we have tiny units, we have medium size units, and we have large units. So our biggest units are kilometers and miles. Our middle units are feet and yards. And what's feet and yards equal to?
Yards.
Meters. Meters. So we could measure feet or yards. And what is the equivalent? Meters. Okay, for metric. How about how big a book is? How wide a book is? What would we measure that in? Is that a tiny unit or a large unit? It's a tiny, yes. So this is a tiny unit. Okay, so we're going to use the small units. So inches and centimeters or millimeters. Okay? Once you've got that written down, turn your page, please. Come on now. All right. Example 3 on the next page, we're talking about estimating length. So when we're talking about estimating, again, we're only talking about using our fingers. Okay, so we want to estimate. We're not using a ruler when we estimate. Now, we could use a pencil, okay, the size of a pencil. We could use anything we want as a measurement device. Now, if we use a pencil, we would use our fingers to see how many inches our pencil is. So if I go like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a little bit, 4.5 probably. So this thing's probably 4.5 inches long. So if I measure something with this, I know he's 4.5 inches, okay? On here, on your page, what you're going to do is you're going to take your 2 fingers, okay? Everybody, take your 2 fingers. So take your 2 fingers, everybody's going to do this, and you're going to measure how long this is with your 2 fingers. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3, find out how long that is, and find out how long the bottom is. Okay, use your 2 fingers, and we're going to estimate. Are you sure? Give it a try. I want you to give it a try. Thank you so much. What do you think? What did people get for that? Try your 2 fingers. What did you get for width? I want to know the number you got for right here.
Maybe like 1 inch and 3/4.
Inch and 3/4? Pretty close. I would say this guy is 1 3/4 to 2 inches. The little ticks on the top there are called inches, okay? So if you see 2 ticks on the top, those are inches. All right, my lips keep sticking together. Now, use your fingers and go across the bottom. How big is it? How big is it? Yep, how long is she? Okay, how long is that?
4.5. That's pretty average.
It's this guy right here. It's bigger than 4.
Like 5.25.
Yeah, buddy, it's 5.25 inches. Well said. So we have 5.25 inches, and we've got around 2 inches or 1.75 inches. Okay. So we don't have to write it up here. That's fine. We have it here and here. What we're gonna do now is this is multiple choice moving down. What we're gonna do is we want to find the one that makes the most sense. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to write all of them that are from big to small so you can see the biggest to smallest. So I'm going to write right here. Here is imperial. Okay. We're going to go biggest.
4 yards.
Well, biggest. It's glitching out here. To smallest. Okay. And then we're going to do metric. Biggest to smallest. And what we do is we want to see which ones make more sense. Because part of math, and a lot of math, is making sense of what the numbers mean, okay? And that's what we got to try and do, is make sense of these numbers. Which one makes the most logical sense? So we're trying to think logic. What would make sense in the real world? So our biggest imperial measurement, that's when we're driving. Those are miles, okay? Then the next biggest ones they use in football are called yards. And it takes 3 of these feet to make a yard. So feet is smaller. Okay? So remember I told you from the floor to your hip is about a meter. Okay? That's a meter or a yard. It takes 3 of your feet to make the floor to your hip. Okay, that would be 3 feet makes 1 yard. Okay, that's what we talk for. Now, the smallest unit here we have is inches. Okay, that's our smallest unit. Okay, so when we talk about objects in the real world, we have to think about what makes sense. Are we talking about a big object, a big unit, or a small object, a tiny unit? So for the metric, the biggest one, we have over here is kilometers. Then we have hectometers, decameters, meters is in the middle, decimeter, centimeter, and millimeter, the teeny ones. These guys on the bottom are the smallest. All right. These guys on the bottom are the smallest. Now, we're going to find out which ones make the most sense. Thank you. Okay. So when I take a look at the very first object, it says the height of a classroom door. Does it make sense to say from the floor to my hip, it's going to make 4 of those? Does that make sense? It makes 4 of them? Or is it going to only make 7 of my feet? Could I take 7 of my feet and make a door? Or would it take 4 of my length of my legs?
7 feet.
Yes, feet makes more sense. We're trying to do what makes sense. So in this case, the smaller unit made more sense. Now we're going to look at the next one. It says how long your pen is. Now, if we look at our pen.
How long is your pen?
How long is your pen?
How long is your pen, Daddy?
Boys, when we talk about how long a pen or a pencil is, that is a small unit. We're using the smaller units. So over here, we'd be using centimeters and millimeters. What's our smallest unit on the left there? What's the imperial small unit on the left? What is written in blue above the word smallest?
Inches.
Inches. So the one that makes the most sense is inches for this guy. So we're trying to make sense of how big these objects are. Okay? All right, the next one, the length of your nose. Are you going to use one of those big, long meter sticks? So I'll show you right here. My cane is about the length of a meter stick. So this is like a meter stick. See how far it goes from the floor to my hip? So this is a meter stick. This is saying right here, do I take 1/4 of this meter stick? Is my nose going to be that long?
It is pretty long.
Maybe if I'm Pinocchio, right? It's not going to be that long. So that is too big of a measurement. That's a big measurement. So for making sense, we want a smaller measurement. So we're going to use centimeters there. So we want to do what's making the most sense. So now we're going to do a height. Just think, our school has 2 stories. We have a main level and level 2. This one's saying a 30-story building. Now, remember, this guy takes 3 feet to make this guy. 3 feet. Okay? So it takes more little ones to make a big one. Am I going to use 300 meters? So 300 of these, or 300 of this tripled? Which one is going to be the 3-story building? 300-story building. 30-story, pardon me. Which makes more sense?
Probably 300 meters.
It is meters. Meters makes more sense compared to feet. Now, the next one, diameter of a CD. That's a tiny unit. So if we're talking about a small unit, we want the tiniest unit. Which one is the tiniest unit on the left? Inches. I don't have that choice. So now I look on this side. Which is the tiniest? Millimeters, the tiniest. So that means I would use millimeter. Okay? So that's what's going on with this one. Okay? All right, bottom of the page. Everybody take a look at the bottom of the page. So it says the height of a cat. Now, I want you to look on the left-hand side how tall a cat is. Am I going to be using a big measurement, or am I going to be using a smaller measurement?
It's 5 kms.
So, kilometers? Kilometers is our biggest unit. That's measuring distances between towns or cities. We want the height, how tall a cat is.
Meters.
We're going to use the smallest. So in imperial, that's the guy on the left, what would you use? What's the smallest unit? Smallest unit, inches. Over here, what we use? Centimeters. So here we're going to use inches. Here we're going to use centimeters. Meters would be too big. Remember, this is about the size of a meter. This is the size of a meter or a yard. Okay, they measure the same amount, a meter or a yard. Okay, that's a big unit. All right, look, next one, diameter of a pop can. So your pop can, we want to measure all the way across the top. Is that a big unit or a small one? Across the top here?
Oh, small.
That's a small unit. I'm not going to measure something for distance for driving, am I? I'm going to use the small units like inches and centimeters. So here I'm going to use inches. Here I could use centimeters or millimeters. All right, our school bus. Now this is a normal, regular orange school bus, a normal length school bus. What would we measure that in? Could we measure it with the length of a meter or a yard? Yeah, it makes kind of sense, doesn't it? So that would be our middle size. So remember, if we've got measurements, we've got the guys that are the biggest and the ones that are in the middle, these guys in the middle, those are called the middle measurements, okay? Those are the mid-size measurements. So a school bus, we could measure it in feet and we could measure it in meters. Okay, length of a football field. What do they measure football fields in? Yards. Good. Everybody knows that one. Yeah.
How many yards is it?
In Canada, it's 110. In the US, it's 100. because it's 55 one way, 55 the other way.
Better.
Okay, guys, quiet, please.
Wait, do we have more yards here?
Yep. We have more yards and a bigger ball. So we have a bigger field and a bigger ball.
Yeah, we do.
We do. Bigger field and a bigger ball. Have you ever heard that song? I'll play it for you later. Okay, so length of a football field, yards, and what's the same length of yards? What is the same length of yards? What do I call this guy? It's already written here once. It's a middle-sized measurement. What is the middle-sized measurement that I put over here in the middle?
Meters.
Thank you. It's meters. Okay, so these are middle measurements. Okay, so those are the middle measurements. Now we're looking at a basketball hoop. So how wide around is a basketball hoop? So what would we measure that in? Would this unit be too big? Would a yard or a meter be too big?
Yeah.
Probably. So, because a basketball hoop is way smaller than this, isn't it?
That's what looks like this thing.
Exactly. So what's a good measurement? We're not going to use the middle size measurements. We're going to use
Inches.
the smaller ones. Good job. Inches and centimeters. Perfect. All right, everybody. We are now going to take a look at area and perimeter. This is where you're going to use your blank piece of paper, and we're going to write, probably 5 or 6 examples, maybe 7, because there's 6 or 7 formulas. We'll do 1 example for each formula. All righty, folks, here we go. Just going to take me a minute to... We are going to do a perimeter and area review. Come on now, why won't you push play? Okay, we're doing a perimeter and area review. We've got our page divided up. Now we're going to do our first object. Our first object is a square. Okay, a square has all the same sides. And we are going to say this guy is 6 inches. Okay, that guy is 6 inches. So our first one is a square. Perimeter means add it up all the way around. So perimeter for this one is going to be 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6, because all the sides are the same. And that's going to be 24 inches. Okay. Area. Write this down, Riley. Don't be, same with you, write it down. Everybody's writing this down. Don't be lazy. On your blank paper, write this down, please. Area is always length times width. And for squares, the length and the width are the same size. So you might see it like this, side squared, and that's okay. What that means is the sides are the same. So you're going to have 6 times 6 or 6 squared, and you're going to get the same area, 36 inches squared. Now remember, sometimes they write that as squared inch. You're going to see it both ways. Okay, so that's our first object. Second object is going to be a rectangle. What's the difference between a rectangle and a square, everybody? What do you think?
Rectangles is more this way.
That's right. Rectangles have a longer length. Their sides are not the same. So rectangles have 2 sides the same on top and bottom, and the left and the right are the same. So if I said this is 5 centimeters and the bottom is 8 centimeters, whenever you get a picture, label the sides they didn't label for you. So on the first one, I would have labeled all the ones that are not labeled for me. And I'll do the same thing on the pink one. That means the top is 8 centimeters, the right is 5. So now when I want to do perimeter, I have to add it all up. 5 plus 8 plus 5 plus 8 to give me 26 centimeters. Okay? Okay, now we're doing area. Area is going to be length times width because this time they are different numbers. So you're going to have 5 times 8, and that's going to give us 40 centimeters, and we have to put our squared sign on it because that means we did area. Okay? When we measure perimeter, we're only measuring one thing, the length around something, but it's all the way around. When we do area, we are measuring two things, length and width. Okay? Two things. Oh, thank you. I just caught that. Okay, next ones. Number 3. Number 3 is a triangle. Okay, everybody grab triangles. Let's go. Here's my triangle. I've got a 9 and a 15. And I've got a 7. Oh, no, let's not go 7. Let's go with 10. And let's go with 12. All right, so there's my triangle. Whenever we do perimeter of or area, perimeter is all the way around something. Okay, who's ever got their music on, turn it off. You are not allowed to have music while I am teaching.
Logan, take your earbud out.
Earbud out.
And no one take your earbud out.
Okay,
You still need to take your
it
earbud
should be
out.
off.
She said I could take it out. Alright, she said I could.
As long as it's off. Some of you I don't trust to have it off. Okay, remember your circles are shrinking, some of you, shrinking fast. All right, perimeter. Add up all the way around. Perimeter, the only numbers I want, 10 plus 12 plus 15. Perimeter is the outside. It does not include anything on the inside. It is only the outside. So my perimeter here is 37. And we're going to call this millimeters. Millimeters. The one in the middle, that's called the height. That one in the middle, that's used for area. The two numbers we use for area are base and height. Those are the only two numbers we use for area. So area of a triangle is base times height, and you'll see it written like this, but it just means divide 2. So base times height, divide 2. The reason we divide by 2 is because a triangle is half the size of a square. Okay, that's why. If you take any square, you can cut it down diagonally and make 2 triangles. That's why we divide the triangle by 2. Okay? All right. Let's now figure out what our area is. So our base and our height, we've got 15 times 9 divide 2, because you can do it all in one step. So 15 times 9 divide 2.
15 times 9 divided 2. That answer is 83.
67.5.
I wasn't even that far off.
And that's going to be millimeters squared. The fourth example is going to be a parallelogram. These ones are a little bit harder to draw. It's a rectangle that got kicked over.
Oh, it's one of those.
Yeah. So it's called a parallelogram.
It's like little Uzi versus forehead.
Parallelogram.
This rapper got a diamond that's like $22 million, and he got it implanted to his like.
No.
Please write your parallelogram down. Okay, we're going to draw the height. We need some numbers on our parallelogram. Okie dokie, here we go. We are going to have, if this will move out of my way, let's just move it up. Everybody has number 2 down? Yes? Okay. No, not quite? Okay, this guy's going to be 11 centimeters. This side is going to be 15 centimeters. And the bottom is going to be 14 centimeters. All right, when we have an object, what should we do to all of the other sides? We should label our numbers on all the other sides that are missing. So now I know that if this guy's 15, this guy's 15, just like a rectangle. The sides are different and the top and bottom are different. So now this guy here is 14. So remember, if I want perimeter, it's only the outside of the object. So for perimeter, I'm going to use the numbers 15 plus 14 plus 15 plus 14. And that's going to give me a perimeter of 58 centimeters. Okay, that's a parallelogram. Make sure you're writing this down. Okay, we're going to do area. Just wait a moment here. I'll give you a minute to write that down. So area of our parallelogram is called base times height. So we call that B times H. So B times H. Now, when we do area, we don't use the diagonal lines. So whenever we find area, we never use diagonal lines, whether it's on a triangle or whether it's on a parallelogram. So we never use the diagonal lines, only the vertical one and horizontal one. That's all. So in this case, the numbers I need to use are the 11 and the base is 14. Okay, so area is going to be 11 times 14. I'll put the 14 first, actually, because 14 is the base and 11 is the height. So 14 for our base times our height, that is 11. Okay, so we're going to go 14 times 11. We're going to get 154 centimeters squared. Okay, 2 more examples. Okay, so our parallelogram, again, we're using base times height. We have 2 more examples. We're going to do polygons and then we're going to do circles. So a polygon is just a normal shape that has more than 4 sides. So number 5 is called polygons. Polygons, and they have more than 4 sides. Just polygons and circles, that's it. Polygons and circles. All right. So with polygons, I'm going to draw you one. Yeah, it's called a polygon. Polygon.
It's a gun?
It's a gon. Polygon. It's an object shape.
Oh, it's a gun.
Okay, is everybody done with number 3? Is everybody done with number 3? Yes?
I've been done with them.
Okay, so I'm moving it up. So polygon. We're going to draw a polygon with 5 sides. So watch how we do it. It's basically a house. So you're going to draw an angle, a down. So you're going to draw kind of like a cup. And then we're going to go and join the points at the top. Okay? So that's 5 sides. Guys, refocus, please. You're writing this down. Okay, so this is 5 sides. When they do that, they're going to give you a height. So this guy is, I'm going to say 7
Why does it have more than 5 sides?
centimeter. More than 4 is called a polygon. So this one we're using is called a pentagon, 5 sides. Pentagon equals 5 sides. Okay? Now they're going to tell us how long each side is. You need to put your polygons on. So this guy is going to be 12 centimeters. And that's all they're going to give us. They're going to give us 2 numbers. That's it. Oh boy. What do we do? All right. Write this down, please. Okay, take your earbud out. Okay. Perimeter means add it up all around. That means I need to label all of my sides. These are all the same. That means all the way around, it's got 12. All of them are 12s. So I'm going to say 12 plus 12 5 times. Or you could say 5 times 12. Plus 12 plus, yes, you can. Or 12 times 5 sides. Okay, if we do that, we're going to get our grand total of 60 centimeters. Okay, grand total of 60
I see
centimeters.
a lot of you have stopped taking notes. Some of you are continuing. Thank you to those people. But remember, this is your exit slip to get out of this place. So
It's got to be written down in order to leave for lunch.
Really?
Yes, really.
So what if I just finish it and then rip it in front of you? No, I'm just kidding. That was better.
Yo, bro,
Not
you
that
menace.
Shrinking circle. I would ball. We can dim them a bit. Okay, just dim them a little bit, Ethan, okay?
Only a little.
No, just, okay, that's the off button. So,
That's so much better.
okay, now hit the dim. Just hit the dim. Couple times. You have to hit it a couple times. Like, hold it down for a minute. Okay, stop. Right there, stop. There you go. That's fine. No, seriously, Ethan.
Hey, that's valid right there.
Okay,
Can I still give you a tab?
you can, yeah.
Oh, what's it
No,
to
you can't.
All right.
Give it to her. Give it to Mr. Wells.
Area
Oh my God.
equals base times height divide 2 times number of sides. That's how we do it. Okay? So what do we know is also base times height divide 2? The other object that is base times height divide 2 is a triangle. So it's a triangle times the number of sides. You might be asking, well, Miss Tuck, I don't see a triangle. I'm going to show you. So this is going to make triangles. If you join all the edges, it'll make a triangle. So it makes 5 triangles because there's 5 sides. So we do area of a triangle times the number of sides. And that'll happen for every polygon that is 5 sides or bigger. Oh, my lips are sticking together. I hate that when that happens. You can't even talk. Okay. So we're taking our base. So the numbers we want to take right now are the base and the height. Okay. So I want 12, that's my base, times my height, 7, divide 2, times 5 sides. That's my number of sides right there. So base times height, divide 2, times the number of sides. Okay, let's write that down, please. And then we're going to actually do the math. We have one last example after this, and then we're done.
Is next block a work period?
Next block will be a work period, you betcha.
No, we should do like this.
Okay,
It's not fun.
We should do
So
like a
now-
math look at
a what?
a math like Kahoot look
Maybe to end, sure. I'll look one up.
Blick it.
Okay, so again, when we do area, we have to make sure, if everybody can see, area, we have to write our squared sign on our areas. Okay, you're going to notice that perimeter doesn't have that squared sign. Only area does. Okay, so we take our base times our height, we divide it by 2, then we times it by 5 sides. If it was like a stop sign, 8 sides, we times it by 8. Okay, so that's how that works. One last example. Okay, we're going to have a circle. You betcha.
0 sides.
Okay, circle. Here we go. You're right, there are 0 sides on a circle. Last example, number 6, is called a circle. All right, here's my fancy circle. He doesn't really look like one, but that's okay.
An oval.
It's an oval.
It's an egg.
It's an egg. There we go.
Holy crap.
Why won't it move back? Okay, I got to move it up here. Hang on. I don't know why it's not moving it out here. Hang on. So now I'm going to put what's called the radius. I'm going to say this guy is 5 millimeters. All right, everybody look it up. Here we go. So circle, perimeter. Perimeter for a circle has a fancy name. Perimeter equals circumference. Okay, so it's got a fancy name. Perimeter equals circumference. So whenever you see the word circumference, it says take perimeter of a circle. Okay, circumference only deals with circles. That's it, just circles. So I would say circumference equals, that's the same as perimeter, pi times diameter. Yes, circumference is pi times diameter. How do you don't need to be making noises every 5 seconds. Okay, so 5 squared times pi. It's going to give me 78.5 millimeters squared. Write it down and you're done.
I'm done.
Okay, write it down and you're done. We are in class after lunch, so you may leave it here if you wish.
Noah, bring me my pencil, please.
Thank you.
Yeah, I leave it.
You may leave it on your desk, yeah? Okay, leave your stuff. If you'd like, you can leave your stuff in the room.
No, it's actually 2. It's just one.
Yes, you guys can have them back now.
Can I have my phone back?
My fully charged phone.
There we go. There we go. Thank you. If you would like to, just a moment, Darian. If you would like to leave your stuff in the room, bring it to the front of the room. And then no one will take it on you. Riley, put that in the bin. Okay. Wait for the bell. Yeah. Wait for the bell. She's right there.
I did not push you.
She would never leave on me, Noah. She knows better.
I would though.
She's not gonna be here
That was wild, man.
Logan.
I was there.
All right, bye.
Because you know what? I had this recall. I coached you soccer. And I remember you were on my team. He's like, oh, now I'm sitting back.
Oh, yeah. Okay, this is Riley.
Okay, are we making more notes on here? Okay, I'm just gonna copy for you.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, we're done with notes and now it's just work.
Okay.
That's the last of it. That's the last of our notes. Okay, this one is Riley. I better write his name down before I forget whose it is. Riley. There we go. That's Riley's stuff. Right there on top of Riley's stuff. All right. I need 2 minutes to go to the bathroom and warm lunch up. You do the same, and then we will convene, okay? Sounds good. You hang out for a bit. Give me 10 minutes, okay? All right. Oh, what a lovely day. I had to get Miss Schaub to come in.
Oh, I bet that's
Oh, it was good. They actually stopped and started working. But it sucks to have to do that, you know? Like, I just wish my little family would be themselves as good little humans and not annoying little brats. Right? They were good little humans after. And they even reconvened after they were interrupted twice.
I know. I was like,
I know, bad time to interrupt. I know, me too. I was like, are you serious? Right now, I finally got them.
I know.
I was like,
You were
seriously?
being so patient.
I know.
Because as a teacher, I'd be like, no, I freaking need you to stop.
Right, because I
It's a wild animal.
finally got them. Yeah, exactly. The caged animals are finally like quiet.
But it just goes to show you, like, they are capable.
They are.
They just are lazy.
They're just lazy and choosing not to. And that's not okay.
It's more frustrating than
Agreed. Agreed.
Also, I totally don't even understand this, like, shaming method. It's like,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
not raising money, you're not doing anything, you're just having a competition to see who they like more. Like, I don't get it.
Well, it's for raising money too. Like they have to raise the most money too. I think it's with money as well.
Okay, because they didn't say that, so I'm confused.
Oh, I'm confused then too because I thought it was all based on the money they raise.
Yeah, like, it's like, because they're voting, but it's like, you're voting, but like, I thought it was, if boss raised more money, then the other.
That's what I thought too. I thought it was based on the money, so I don't
It
know.
doesn't sound like it's related to that at all.
I know, which is frustrating. Hi.
Can I know what I got?
Two wrong.
Two wrong.
92. Again. You're very consistent. Very consistent.
Wait, which two did I get wrong?
You can come look if you'd like.
I probably know which ones I got wrong.
Yeah, you probably will look at it and go, oh, really? Okay, so let's just see here. I gotta take his out. He's coming to see me. That's unit 3, the wrong one. Okay, unit 4. Where's unit 4? It's unit 1 and 2, or 2 and 3. Where did I put 4? Oh, right there. I'll put it the other way. Okay. Okay.
Who got a hundy?
Schmitty. Keegan Schmidt.
Actually? Good job.
Yeah. I was really, really happy for him. Foreign Brett. Well, I need that one. He's coming to go through it. Where are you? Nevaeh Mason. There you are. It's probably just little things. This one here.
Oh, mother trucker.
Do you know what it is? Yeah. Okay.
Multiply, not.
Yeah, multiply, not add. I know, right?
Alright. Thanks.
Yeah, you bet. Okay. Bathroom break.